Hello, welcome back to another video. This is Great King Ray, bringing to you five tips to get better economically in Europa Universalis 4. So, without further ado, I will get started. The first thing I have on my list is gold mines. Upgrade your gold mines. If multiple countries have gold mines at the beginning of the game, say you're playing Austria, they have a gold mine. Well, it used to be in Tyrol, but now it's somewhere else. But you want to develop that gold mine to 10 base production, and if you have to do it, even if do it, because that will boost your economy by a huge amount. And if you don't start with the gold mine, I recommend, if you're struggling economically and there's one near you, you may consider taking it because, again, the money benefits. If for some reason you have a gold mine and it's not doing a ton even though you've developed it up to 10 base production, then what you need to do is it's probably not in a state and its autonomy is extremely high, so if you simply put it in a state, you'll get a ton more money instantly. That is it for tip number 1. Tip number 2 is go for trade nodes that will help you. So, say you're a colonizer, say you're England, you're colonizing. There's like an order of things of which to colonize. You want to colonize the Caribbean first because the Caribbean, no matter who you are, is probably the most important trade node in the New World if you are a European, because that basically directs all the trade, whether between like Seville, however you want to pronounce it. I'm not Spanish, or the English Channel, obviously. So, well, that's critical to get. If you're because if you're England, you can direct that trade up to like your colonies in North America and Canada. What you don't want to do is, as England, is decide that it'd be a fantastic idea to go colonize along the Amazon, because that isn't going to help you at all. Why? Because that Amazon trade node isn't easily connected to your home trade node, which is the English Channel. So focus on taking stuff that has more of an effect on your current trade node when you're colonizing. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Like, maybe if you're in Italy, you don't want to be taking places like I don't know. Maybe you may not want to take some place like Novgorod, because it's not really going to help you much if you own a ton of stuff in the Novgorod trade node, because you can't direct that back to Italy. You would prefer to get like the Sevilla node, as I mentioned before. You would rather get the Constantinople trade node and other things like that. So all I'm trying to say is take stuff that's closer to your trade node and you can easily direct to your home trade node. And that's it for tip number 2. Tip number 3, take money from wars. This one's pretty simple, but it's pretty simple. That's basically it. Take money from your enemies in wars. Peace out separately, which multiple people know how to do, but in case you don't, you can peace out separately allies of the nation you are currently fighting, and I suggest taking all the money you possibly can from them, because then you get more money, obviously. It can also help you repay any loans that you may have taken during the war, so it's a very good thing. May even consider extending a war out a little longer if it means you get more money from them. And that's basically it for tip number 3. It's pretty simple, but it will help you if you're struggling economically. Number 4 is develop your provinces and upgrade your centers of trade. Again, develop your provinces. This is kind of touching back to the gold mine one, but you want to develop your provinces. Now, you can develop your provinces with any of your monarch. You develop provinces with your monarch power. All of you probably knew that, but only the administrative and diplomatic one directly gives you money. So what I recommend is going to the build interface, looking for the cheapest development cost, and getting and investing a few admin and diplo points into that. Also, if you want to, you can do military power. It's all pretty darn useful. Okay, what was I gonna say? All right, here we go. And also, I said upgrade centers of trade. They're those things you hover over them. They're centers of trade. They're important things when it comes to your trade game. Those should be your priorities when trying to consolidate a trade node. It's going and taking all of those centers of trade. You'll be able to tell if it's a center of trade because if you click on the province, it will say center of trade. Also, if you go to the trade map mode, it'll show like this illustration in a square, and it'll have a 1, 2, 3 in Roman numerals next to it. That is the level center of trade you've got. Now you can upgrade these centers of trade if you go to your province. If you go to your province view and click on it, it costs 200 ducats to upgrade it from a level 1 center of trade to a level 2 center of trade, and it takes 1,000 ducats to upgrade it from level 2 center of trade to a level 3 center of trade. Now, obviously, you need to be pretty economically powerful if you're going to upgrade things to level 3, but if you upgrade everything to level 2, it's very helpful when it comes to the trade game. That is what I recommend. And fifth and final on my list is don't always be at your force limit with armies. Now, in case some of you don't know, since this may be watched by multiple beginners of the game, but there's this mechanic in Europa Universalis 4 known as force limit. Basically, if your army or navy size goes over it, you'll have to start paying ridiculous amounts of money for your army because it's like your limit. Don't go over that force limit, okay? First and foremost, don't go over your force limit, but also don't always be at the force limit. That's not your benchmark. You don't always have to be there. What you want to do is that be a bit under your force limit in case you want, like, because armies still cost a lot of money, and you shouldn't all have to be at the, how should I put this? You shouldn't always be at your force limit, especially because, like, there's really no point when you're at peace. Also, there's usually no point if you're at war unless you're at war with a huge enemy and you don't want to get crushed. But that's really it. You usually don't want to be at force limit, so after a big war, you may consider possibly disbanding 1 or 2 of your armies to make it so you don't have to pay for them, obviously, because that's very helpful. I found that if I'm in economic trouble, it's usually because I've recently expanded my army to a much larger size. So basically, don't always be at your force limit. It's not a benchmark. You shouldn't always be at it. My 4th tip was develop provinces and upgrade trade centers. If you remember that, in case you don't remember it, the trade centers are the things with the Roman numerals and the illustration next to it in the trade map mode, and you can develop by going to a province and spending monarch points to make your provinces better. 3 was take money from wars. Pretty self-explanatory, so I won't go into too much detail. Number 2 is go to trade nodes that will help you, not just some random one across the world that doesn't lead back to your home node. And number 1, develop and take gold mines. Thank you all for watching. This is Great King Rene. Please consider liking if you liked the video and maybe subscribing. Thank you, and I will see you next time.